Hello there. Thanks for tuning in to your favorite news destination. You're watching In Your Interest with me, Kabir Naqvi. And on the show tonight, of course, 20 kids killed by the deadly syrup, but moreover, the silence of the system as well. A killer cough syrup that's claimed the lives of over 20 innocent children in Madhya Pradesh alone. And this isn't just a medical mishap. It's a systemic failure of epic proportions. Let's break that down for our viewers. The scale of this tragedy is unprecedented, with the highest ever levels of deadly diethylene glycol detected. There are regulatory black holes and a shocking lack of accountability from those in power. Over 20 children dead in Madhya Pradesh due to toxic cough syrup, and the culprit, cold drift syrup, contaminated with a staggering 48.6% diethylene glycol, DEG. That's 500 times over the safe limit. Pretty much half the bottle is diethylene glycol. And this is the highest recorded DEG level in any pharmaceutical product globally across the world. The crisis has exposed stark variations in how states are handling this nightmare. Punjab, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, they've all banned cold drift. But why the patchy response to this? And of course the alarm bells. The World Health Organization has sought the center's response on whether these deadly syrups were exported. They're asking that question. Could this poison be spreading beyond our borders? And now to the man at the helm in Madhya Pradesh, Chief Minister Mohan Yadav. When asked about these deaths yesterday, mind you, 3 more children died yesterday. They were receiving treatment, but they succumbed and breathed their last because of acute kidney failure. Well, the Chief Minister's response was, this is yesterday's issue. Yesterday's issue? Tell that to the families who are grieving their children today. The first death was reported on the 4th of September, but no action for nearly a month. What were the authorities doing for 30 odd days? The ban on cold drift only came on the 3rd of October, 1 month later. Why the deadly delay, Mr. Chief Minister? Is that also yesterday's story?
अरे भाई ये हो गया ना भाई, कल की बात आप आज मत लाओ, उसको आज की बात करो ना। यहाँ पर मेरी बात तो सुनो भाई, तुम तो समझदार हो। मैंने कल आज वहां जाकर के जितनी प्रकार से हो सकता है वो सब करा है।
Well, our News9 probe dives deeper into the crisis crippling Madhya Pradesh's drug system. With just 75 inspectors for 30,000 medical shops statewide, oversight is clearly a joke. In Bhopal alone, 5 inspectors handled 2,500 shops. Each sample takes 2 to 3 months to test in a lab with only 10 staff and outdated machines. Right now, 6,000 samples are awaiting reports. It could take a year. And those mobile testing vans, you may ask, well, they're rusting as scrap. Well, the MP drug department points fingers elsewhere, saying responsibility lies where the syrup was made, back in Tamil Nadu and Gujarat. They insist the first probe should have been done there, not over here in Madhya Pradesh. But this blame game isn't saving lives. And mind you, the kids died starting from Chhindwara district in Madhya Pradesh.
मध्य प्रदेश के अलग अलग जिलों में अब तक 21 मासूम बच्चों की मौत जहरीले सिरप के कारण हो चुकी है। TV9 इस पूरे मामले पर बड़ी ही बारीकी से पड़ताल कर रहा है कि आखिरकार चूक कहां हुई है, दोषी कौन है। अब ये तस्वीर आपको हम ड्रग एंड फूड डिपार्टमेंट एरिया की दिखा रहे हैं। उनके दफ्तर में ही एक तरह से ये गाड़ियां रखी हुई है। इनकी स्थिति आप देख लीजिए। ये मध्य प्रदेश के फूड एंड ड्रग डिपार्टमेंट का हाल है। सड़ रही हैं ये गाड़ियां, आप तस्वीरें देख लीजिए। और इसको लेकर जब हमने अधिकारियों से सवाल किया तो जवाब हमें मिला कि ये तो सिर्फ फूड डिपार्टमेंट की गाड़ियां हैं। ये देख रहे हैं आप कि फूड डिपार्टमेंट की गाड़ियां हैं और कंडम हो चुकी है, मगर यहाँ पर झूठ साफ साफ पकड़ा जा चुका है। इस पर स्पष्ट तौर पर लिखा है कि फूड एंड ड्रग्स डिपार्टमेंट। अब ऐसी ही एक और दूसरी गाड़ी भी आपको दिखा देते हैं, क्योंकि ये बात अधिकारी भी मान रहे हैं कि हमारे पास पर्याप्त स्टाफ नहीं है। ये बात अधिकारी मान रहे हैं। और ये दूसरी गाड़ी भी देख लीजिए। और सबसे बड़ी बात, 6000 ऐसे सैंपल हैं जिनकी जांच रिपोर्ट आना बाकी है। और जो हमें जानकारी मिली है उसके मुताबिक तो तकरीबन 1 वर्ष लगेगा इन जांच की रिपोर्ट आने में। अब ये दूसरी गाड़ी भी आप देख लीजिए, इस पर भी सीधे सीधे लिखा है ये चलित परीक्षण प्रयोगशाला है। अब हमने तो भोपाल में कहीं और जाते हुए नहीं देखी, ये इस पर लिखा हुआ है राजकीय खाद्य प्रशिक्षण प्रयोगशाला। ये भी एक तरह से सड़ रही है। तो स्थिति काफ़ी दयनीय है। इन डिपार्टमेंट्स की जांच पड़ताल जारी है। अब भी जो सैंपल लिए गए थे उसमें से 3 की रिपोर्ट एक तरह से नेगेटिव आई है, बाकी को अप्रूव किया गया है। मगर सबसे बड़ा सवाल यही है कि आखिरकार 21 बच्चों की मौत का दोषी कौन?
कोल्ड ड्रिफ्ट की बात आप कर रहे हैं, वो तमिलनाडु में ही प्रोडक्शन की अनुमति के बाद वहाँ से स्टार्ट हुआ था, और जब प्रोडक्शन की अनुमति होती है उसी के साथ साथ सेल की अनुमति भी वहीं से प्राप्त होती है। तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग वो लोग यहाँ पे डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करते हैं। जब वो हमारे स्टेट में आ जाती है तो हमारे स्टेट में आने के बाद भी कभी भी रैंडमली सैंपल चेकिंग हमेशा होते आए हैं, और उस समय जो भी स्थिति निकलती है, यदि पास आती है तो कोई बात नहीं है, लेकिन अगर फेल आते हैं तो उस समय भी कार्रवाई की जाती है। अभी जो स्थिति निर्मित हुई है, तो जैसा कि जो फेल हुए हैं तो उसके लिए भी हमने यहाँ से सेंट्रल ड्रग कंट्रोल को भी लिखा हुआ है, साथ ही तमिलनाडु में भी लिखा हुआ है, उसके पश्चात कार्रवाई होगी।
ये बेहद दुखद और दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण घटना में छिंदवाड़ा और बांडूना और बैतूल में मिला के 20 मासूम बच्चों की मृत्यु हो चुकी है। सरकार बहुत सख्त है। जो दवाई बनाने वाली कोल्ड ड्रिफ्ट बनाने वाली कंपनी है, उसके ओनर को गिरफ्तार करने के लिए छिंदवाड़ा से पुलिस की टीम चेन्नई और कांचीपुरम पहुंच चुकी है और कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई की जा रही है।
हमारे मुख्यमंत्री कल किसी मीडिया ने बयान पूछा उनसे, तो उन्होंने कहा कि ये घटना पुरानी बात हो गई, रोज बच्चे मर रहे हैं, मृत्यु हो रही है बच्चों की, और इस प्रकार का अगर मुख्यमंत्री बयान देते, टिप्पणी करते तो बड़ी शर्मनाक है इस मध्य प्रदेश के लिए।
But those are some of the authorities and the political reactions. Then you saw how those vans are rusting up, thrown in a corner. And now the horror at the heart of it all, the Srisan Pharmaceuticals in Tamil Nadu, the factory behind this poison, it went unchecked for 14 long years. Tamil Nadu government's report reveals zero hygiene, zero compliance, non-pharma chemicals bought in cash and GPay, syrups brewed in filth with mud and insects everywhere, dirty water, no pharma grade testing. There were plastic pipes used for the drugs, and there was no air quality control, no ventilation. Rodents were roaming around in the entire plant. Samples were being tested in open air. I mean, contamination risks all across. Records were manipulated, no logs for mixing or blending, no microbiology lab, no trained staff, no safety systems. This isn't a factory, it's a death trap. And we're saying it. The central government's role is equally perplexing. That first statement came 30 days after the first death. And even then, the centre's October 3rd statement didn't show the real picture. States operated in silos with no unified response. The Central Drug Standard Control Organization, the CDSCO, failed to coordinate or alert the states. A high-level meet by the centre was only held on the 6th of October, a month and 5 days later after the first death. Is CDSCO a watchdog or just a bystander? And with no center-states coordination, this regulatory confusion has paralyzed action. This isn't the first time. Remember past syrup scandals? It's time to fix India's drug safety system once and for all. CDSCO must fill staff gaps and boost its budget. All drugs should meet export-level testing standards. Make diethylene glycol, DEG, EG screening and batch testing mandatory. Implement real-time alerts and automated vigilance. Give CDSCO the power to cancel licenses and prosecute offenders swiftly. More importantly, a coordinated action plan to be put into place by centre and the states on matters of national importance. We have an informed set of panelists waiting for you. And the big questions that we're trying to decode and ask tonight. Where was the centre-state coordination? Who is responsible? What is stopping India from implementing export-level drug testing for all medicines? And why the gaping vacuum and lacuna when we're talking about our quality assurances. With me on the broadcast, Dr. Akash Soni, National Executive Member, Pharma, Madhya Pradesh, Professor Y.K. Gupta, National Scientific Advisor, Pharmacovigilance Program of India, former Head, Pharmacology, AIIMS Delhi, and President, AIIMS Kalyani. Many thanks, Doctor, for joining us here. Dr. Dilip Bhanushali, National President, IMA, with us also on the broadcast, Dr. Jitendra Kumar, Senior Nephrologist and Chairman, Department of Renal Sciences, Accord Hospital, and former President, Delhi Nephrology Society. What an informed set of panelists with us on the broadcast. Dr. Soni, let me quickly get the snowball rolling with you. You're from Madhya Pradesh, where this tragedy began. Why did the response come almost a month after the first death? What, according to you, explains this criminal delay?
The basic important thing is there. The center and state, health is a state subject, and center is just only watching from the upside, like an eagle. But the work of center, the center is not doing the work properly. The delay is only due to the miss or lack of the coordination between the center and state. Nothing like this, nothing like any committees nowhere exist in this country who monitor all the event, like all the pharmaceutical drug, which is already ongoing. All some drugs is already inside the drug store or inside the medical stores.
Right.
You can even if a doctor want to prescribe, even if a non-licensed doctor, we can say the Jhola Chhap doctor want to prescribe, he can prescribe just any medication. He can just ask to any pharmaceutical company to prepare a drug of the different composition, like this composition with A and along with B should be mixed with within a cup syrup or within a tablet, and this drug should be available in the market. This is the very bad incident. All the things are going around us.
How deep is the rot? Dr. Soni, how deep is the rot? Give us an on-ground perspective of how deep is this rot. Only 75 inspectors for 30,000 medical shops. Is that why poisonous cough syrup is reaching our kids?
That is a quite joke for me. And also my senior doctor is also here. They also know the ground reality. This is simply the joke. We cannot rely over the these simple number of the drug inspector which is already present on the field. How can they inspect such medical store? This is very tiny thing. Even in a government hospital, even in a hospital, if we want to get to distribute some drugs, we want to admit like this, like if we are thinking in this way, like if in a government hospital, if we want to distribute the drug, we are able to like distribute a drug by the 4 to 5 member, minimum 4 to 5 member in a small government hospital even. But for testing of that drug, only such a small number of drug inspector who is roaming around the city.
Absolutely.
That is very,
the numbers are certainly a joke. Professor Gupta, as someone who's helped build India's drug monitoring system, how did this slip through every layer of regulation? Why I'm asking you this is, what does this say about our pharmacovigilance and the network if a syrup with 48% DEG reaches our children? Professor Gupta.
I would just like to make it very clear that DEG or EG, if it is more than 0.1%, it is not acceptable, regulatory. But also even 0.1% should not be there. Number two. Number three, when you say 48.6%, it cannot be contamination. It is certainly intentional or by intentional for the purpose of getting monetary benefit. It cannot be simple contamination. Next, that these are the high risk contaminants or high risk impurities, and it is very well in the policy that all formulation which have high risk contamination possibility must be checked at the time when the raw material comes, at the time when the batch is released. All batches must be checked. Now, this is a complete failure of observance of GMP. Now, this GMP, which is a mandatory, and such cases, the punitive action should be such that these organizations, these companies should never ever be
But
allowed
Professor
to
Gupta,
do it
does
again.
the punitive action
No
actually work? My apologies for interjecting here, and I by no means want to put you on a spot here. You're just the right voice with the kind of expertise to answer these kind of questions. When regulators turn a blind eye to serial offenders, then that's where the punitive measures come into place. Does that point to incompetence or complicity? Because I'm trying to understand there's clear-cut nexus, some sort of collusion is happening. And how often are the same drug manufacturers caught, they're warned, maybe sometimes punitive action is taken, and yet they continue to operate in the same fashion?
I won't say this is a collusion unless there is an established evidence for that, because
There are no reports out there, sir. 24 children have died. Look at how delayed our response to this entire aspect
law
is.
will take its own course. He has to be arrested, no doubt about it.
Okay.
But the law will take its own course. That is definitely. And if I am the lawmaker, I would suggest that the law should be such that it should be the most deterrent for others also, and most deterrent for any person. At the same time, I will also like to mention again and again that doctor ki utni galti nahi hoti. It's not that fault, doctor, because he needs a continuous medical education at the most, you say.
Okay.
But it is the formulation, the preparation which must be there. Correct. And it is such poisonous formulation in the market. I think they must not be tolerated.
All right.
And there
All
has
right.
to be.
All right.
And you said that number of staff to do the collection and to do the checking need to be augmented.
Absolutely. I mean, look at some of the gaping and, mind-boggling lapses that have been mentioned in that Tamil Nadu report. It's a 26-page report. Insects roaming around, rodents roaming around, in open air, mixtures are being, kept. There is a proper risk of air contamination. Plastic pipes are being used. God knows what exactly was happening. It was a death trap, not a manufacturing belt. Dilip Bhanushali. Yes, sir.
I have seen the clipping of those manufacturing sites. If they are correct, I think no product from such place will be safe.
Absolutely. No, goes without saying. You don't even need an expert opinion on that. Somebody who can even see what's happening there. And I mean, it's always mind-boggling. I don't even want to think about those visuals again. Dr. Dilip Bhanushali, National President, IMA, also with us on the broadcast. From an ethical, professional and an institutional accountability point of view, every time a tragedy like this occurs, the regulator blames the company blames the raw material supplier, but nobody blames this nexus per se. What is your opinion on the nexus? And like Professor Gupta was pointing out, it's not necessarily the doctor's problem. I see how the IMA and the Pharma are coming out in response of securing, honest doctors out there. Pharma's latest letter to the Health Ministry also quote-unquote points out and says that honest doctors should be protected. But what safeguards do doctors actually have? How do doctors verify the quality of medicines that they themselves are prescribing? Let's tell the viewers about that.
Doctors have no role in checking up what's inside the drug, right? The medicines which were there supplied from the manufacturer, which was by the supplier, then from the drug controller to the depot or to the medical shop. It's the duty of the drug controller to see whether the drugs are proper or not. The contamination part of this.
I agree with you. But let's move beyond what already the common man has consumed out there. In rural setups, you have small-time clinics, and those doctors are prescribing medication. Now, if this was a big established institution, we would see protest, at least in the urban metropolitans. But in the rural places, the small-time clinics, what kind of safety measures or safeguards do the doctors themselves have to understand and know and verify what medicine they're prescribing to their patients? Are there norms in place? Is there a safeguard system where a doctor understands and can tell their patient and trustfully give them a medicine?
When a doctor prescribes a medicine, he knows what he is giving. Number one, he knows what are the side effects.
Is that the truth in the case of the pediatrician who subscribed cold drift to these children? That's not true over in this case, is it, doctor?
Why it's not true? It was true because the pediatrician didn't know that it was contaminated.
Yeah, so I'm asking whether this particular pediatrician could have known that this drug is contaminated, that this cough syrup is contaminated. Then we need some of those safeguards, don't we? We need the doctors to know what they're prescribing.
Safeguards comes only once the medicines comes in the market. The government has approved that. Only after the approval it comes to the market. So in what way doctor is responsible for this?
Okay. Okay. So what you're essentially saying...
Medicines they have been writing for ages together. This is the ingredient of that medicines which was contaminated, which has caused this problem.
Okay, okay. We also have a doctor, a nephrologist with us, a senior nephrologist, Dr. Jitendra Kumar. You know, on the medical impact, doctor, many thanks for patiently waiting. And to Dr. Bhanushali as well and Professor Gupta, the idea is not to grill the doctors. I do understand what the IMA and the Pharma is talking about, how we should protect our doctors out there. They're the good Samaritans that are treating us and working for us. But what is going to be your message, Dr. Kumar, to regulators who have treated this entire fiasco like paperwork and pushed it into the dustbin rather than a public health emergency? What is going to be your message to the regulators out there? You'll have to unmute yourself, sir. Dr. Jitendra, you'll have to unmute yourself, sir.
Sorry for that thing.
No, that's okay.
Once upon a time, about 2 or 3 decades back, the trust between doctor and patient was immense. And we had very few brands, and we used to personally know about the quality of the brands. Suppose the product is coming from XYZ, we were sure that it's a reputed brand, and we used to write by the name of that particular brand. But unfortunately, over last 2 decades, what happened? Many brands cropped up in the name of generic, and in generic, some of them are good, excellent, and some of them are actually spurious, highly spurious.
Yeah.
But problem is that when you buy a gold, you have something called hallmark. When you buy wool, you have something called wool mark. In hospital also, there is a accreditation system, NABH, and there are, for labs, there is NABL accreditation. But unfortunately, government and public both alike are trying to push the fact that all products are same, and somehow or other, there is apathy toward this, and this is not in the priority list. Now time has come that there should be some sort of standardization and regularization in this
Great
area.
point.
If a drug is cheap, do we know why and how is this cheap?
Yeah.
When it comes to drinking water, we very well know that if some particular bottle is very, very cheap, it might not be particularly RO water.
Yeah.
But some other drugs which are actually killing the people, there is no kind of standardization in our country.
There's no awareness outside also. There's no awareness about this. The hallmark, wool mark, why not a standardized mark for our medication system as well? Professor Gupta, the states have been working in silos per se. Why do you think so that's happened? MP had a different response. Tamil Nadu has a different response. The center and the states aren't meeting each other in the middle. They're not seeing each other eye to eye. I know it's a state subject, but when it's an emergency, shouldn't we all come together? And there's clear-cut, apathy when we're talking about synergy between states and the center.
No, I agree with you that this is sort of an emergency situation.
Yeah.
And all states should work in collaboration or in coordination. And what should be done? See, the DEG and ED, particularly in this case, DEG and ethylene glycol both are toxic, and both are so severely toxic that most of the time the damage becomes irreversible. Number two, that we know that this adulterant or this ingredient can be present in cough syrup as well as paracetamol syrup.
Right.
And therefore, it is important that for the time being, pause those formulations which are not tested. Pause means stop that. Unless they are tested and found free, then you can release them. And no harm is going to be there if cough syrup are not there for 15 days or 1 month across the country. It doesn't make much difference, particularly for children. Paracetamol, yes, fine. But then you test those. I would say in country-wise, pause may not be bad also for the cough syrup. Till gradually it is tested and released.
So
Testing
what I've
process
understood
should be
essentially is that we
fast.
need a reform. We need a standardization practice when it comes to cough syrup. It might not be for all the medication, but for something like a cough syrup for which we've already been dealing with this emergency, we do need it. There is some sort of nexus at play.
There is a policy where there is a high risk ingredients are there, then there is a very clear-cut policy which has been there, but that has to be this very strictly implemented.
Yeah, strict implementation. All right. Completely run out of time here. Dr. Soni, I'm going to give you the last final 20-30 seconds. I do want to understand, as a young doctor yourself, what does it do to your faith in India's drug safety system? All of this is happening in Madhya Pradesh. You're seeing your seniors react to it, your juniors react to it. You're building a career for yourself in this field to help other people. But then there's a big question mark here.
Basically, government is trying to defame the doctors. I just only say. Just putting behind the bars a doctor, if a doctor puts behind the bar due to the defect in a particular drug, which is the responsibility of the government and the responsibility of the drug making company.
Yep.
It's only the response. Two people are responsible. You can say two organization is responsible. Only the making company and another one is who is testing that. Doctor is not responsible for that. Is the prescribing a drug is the crime in India? I am simply asking.
You're raising a very well point. Why should the doctors be tarnished when it's the state's job to carry out the controlling and the quality assurance?
Definitely.
But then again,
is the prescribing? Yeah, I'm just interrupting. I'm so sorry. Is the prescribing a drug within a certain? If the drug is already available in the market, if I am a doctor, if I am prescribing certain drug which is already available in the market,
why should that be a problem? Why should that be a problem?
Definitely.
How did it end up in the chemist shop in the first place? And these are questions that we're going to continue to ask, because this is not just the killer cough syrup, it's a silent system that's also taken the lives of our over 20 innocent children. Dr. Soni, Professor Gupta, Dr. Bhanushali and Dr. Jitendra Kumar, many thanks for speaking to News9 and educating me and the viewers at that same point in time. Profits are being protected, patients are being neglected. This is India's silent pharma nexus. When inspection becomes eyewash and approval becomes business, a tragedy that is built on influence, on indifference and impunity. Look at the Chief Minister's reaction. Every dead child is an audit failure. It's not an accident. The regulator blinked, the lobby smiled, and from paperwork to politics, the bigger question is who's protecting this poison? This isn't a manufacturing failure, it's a moral one, and the question is not how these children died, but how so many people lived with this silence. Many thanks for watching. In your interest, that's all the time we have for you in this particular broadcast. Top developments right on the other side. Don't go anywhere.